Shalawam, shalawam. Shalawam, shalawam. Share the live out real quick. Hey, shalom, shalom. We're going to begin in about 2 minutes. Shalom, brothers and sisters. Shalom. All right, we're going to begin in about 2 minutes. Shalom. Oh, you can go watch TV. All right, let's get into it. Facing the east, giving all praises, honor, and glory be to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of the great millstone, which rule well and teach well in sincerity, taught us this truth. Shalawam to you brothers and sisters out there. Shabbat shalawam. All right, it's your brother Yerami Kazak, back with hopefully another edifying lesson through the spirit, power, and strength of Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Kakadash. The true names of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Yahawah equals He is, He exists. Not Jehovah, not Elohim, not Yahweh, not any of those names, Yahuwah, none of that. Okay, those are not correct names. Those are false names. All right, that is the name of the Father, Yahawah. The name of the Son is Yahawashi, which means He saves, He delivers, He is salvation. So not Yeshua, not Yahusha, not Jesus, not Christ, not none of that. Okay, it is Yahawashi. All right. And then Rakakadash is the name of the Holy Spirit. It's not no Ruach HaKadosh. It's not the Holy Ghost. It's not none of that. It's simply the Rakakadash or Holy Spirit. All right, or the Anointed. All right, you could say that as well. So these are the correct names that we must come in, that we must baptize in according to Matthew 28, 18, 19, right? And the Father and the Son are separate, okay? They are two different entities. All right, the Son is not the Father is not the Son. Okay, when it says in one, they are one, meaning they're one in essence, one in mind, one in understanding. Okay, they're not the same individual, right? So, hey, that right there just, and you can, actually the Son says it himself. Okay, the Father sent me, etc., right? So now that we got all that out the way, let's get into this. Oh, and also, this is a Bible-based live. Okay? So we're gonna be using the Bible. So if you don't like the Bible, I'm giving you a warning already. You should leave. Okay? Yeah, I'll give about 1 more minute for brothers to get up in here, and then we're gonna begin. 1 minute. All right, I just had to read something. Okay. I was just talking with my rib about this Christian. And Christians, they be like, they be it's really like a mental diagnosis to be a Christian, man. It's a mental it's mental health, man. It's problems mentally, okay? Because you're a part of something that you won't even research and you won't even actually understand, the correct way that it's supposed to be done, because you don't actually read the Bible. So what is that? That's your mental capacity isn't great. It isn't high, right? And it affects your mental health. I'm gonna read mental health real quick. Mental health is defined as a person's emotional, psychological, and social well-being affecting how they think, feel, and act, as well as how they handle stress, relate to others, and make choices. Okay? So being a part of Christianity, serving Jesus Christ, right? And doing whatever the man tells you, okay? Is not actually, you're not actually reading the Bible. Okay? Yeah, it's like being in a sunken place. Exactly, bro. Exactly, y'all. So, if anybody that's a Christian, you need to actually read the Bible and see where it tells you to do Christmas. Show me that. Right? Where does it tell you that the Mary was a virgin in the sense of she never had sex? Where does it tell you that, right? You got to start questioning what the Catholicism, which is the head of Christianity, has taught you. You got to question these type of things, But once again, it is what it is, all right? Now, the brother, Yaramia Gabar, had a dream, man. It's a beautiful dream. And I'm going to go get it right now. And we're going to go into this dream, all right? Let me get it. I don't know if any other brothers probably saw it. I just want to touch on it a little bit because I thought it was a great dream. So let's go into it.
Shalawam. First and foremost, all praise and glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham,
We're going to skip to the dream. Let me see. This brother does great videos, man. Great edifying videos, great edification coming from this brother. All right, everybody should subscribe to him. He got a YouTube as well, and he got a TikTok.
Specifically going into 2nd Ezra 15 and 17.
Right here.
Going into how a man shall desire to enter a city and shall not be able. Okay? So, the Bible talks about how many should dream dreams and have visions. I believe it's Joel, the 2nd chapter, that talks about how, men shall have dreams and visions, and daughters and sons shall prophesy. Okay? Going into the tokens, which is Bible prophecy. Okay? So this dream that I had, it takes place in a city. It looks a little bit like Chicago or Mass. It definitely wasn't New York, but it was either Chicago or Mass. And now I was walking in the street, and while I was walking in the street, I was very confused about what the heck was going on. Okay, you had military personnel. Now it wasn't your military personnel where they were a camel, right, with a camel and shit like that. I believe they were in all black. Okay, they were in all black, And I really didn't make out their faces because their backs were turned towards the people that were being lined up. Now, like I said, I was walking in the street, and I look on my right, and there's a lane with a whole bunch of people going in a tunnel that curves to the right. Okay, and the sign was like, for the younger adults. Okay, then I look ahead, and there's a tunnel. Okay, with a whole bunch of people going in that one, and there was a sign that was saying, for like the middle-aged or the elderly. And when I looked on my left, there was a tunnel for the animals. Okay, so the military personnel, or maybe the martial art troops personnel, was directing all people into those tunnels. Okay, like I said, they had a category of the young adults, right? The teens and the young adults. The one in front of me was for the elderly and the middle aged, like your upper 30s and up. Okay, and then the one on the left was for animals. So I immediately thought about Revelation, the 13th chapter, going into the MOTB, which is the RFID CHIP. Okay, and how the majority of the world would be on those lines to accept that mark, to accept that charagma, to accept that allegiance with the devil.
Let's stop it right there. I'm gonna let it finish, but we're gonna go over there. Let's go to Revelations. All right, 13th chapter. Okay. Now, for many that don't, we started 11. For many that don't, if you never heard about this, which, many brothers heard about it even before we came into the truth, right? About a chip, right? That's going to be put out there for the entire planet, okay? You got many, just people in general that they don't even read the Bible. They know about this, right? This is common knowledge, okay? But as we're gonna say, as the brother is stating, it's gonna be a time frame where they're gonna give you a choice. Where if you don't have this C-hip, this chip, either in your right hand, your left hand, your knee, whatever it may be, okay, then you're not gonna be able to live on this planet. Okay, it will be mandatory. That is coming. That's a time that is coming where this thing will be mandatory. Okay. Verse 11. Let's start at verse 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. Now that's talking about what? America is that beast, and those 2 horns is what? The Republican system and the Democratic system. All right, this is the way that the Roman Empire always operated. Okay, you had 2 political systems where they operated off of, and then they would have a Caesar, which is basically the president. Okay, now he spake as a dragon, so he appears like a lamb. A lamb is nice and tender, and all of that is harmless, but spake as a dragon. So with his words, with his legal actions, with the legal system, the laws that he passed. Okay, let's go to Isaiah 10 and 1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and that write grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. So with these certain laws, what do you see in most prison systems? You see individuals that did not have a father. Okay, they didn't have a good structure growing up. Okay, that's a statistic that if you grew up in a single mother home, your likelihood of going to jail or going to prison or being unalive is far higher than if you grew up with a mother and a father. Okay, so they robbed the fatherless. They oppressed the poor. All right, these type of things are taking place. Okay? Keeping it going, let's go back to Revelations. Now, this is what they do. So, in their justice system, their system in general, it is targeting you. And who is you? The so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American. Because that's who's filling up the prison houses. Right? That's who's in the poor area. That's who's in the poverty-stricken areas, man. That's who's getting the least amount of care and the most amount of policing. Right? Verse 12, and he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. Now that first beast, as we just spoke of, was Rome. All right, America, as it's been said many times, is Rome 2.0. Right? I'm going to bring up this right here. You can simply look up similarities, right? What's on that? The eagle. Now that's a known symbol that the Edomites, which are Romans, all right, the Edomites love to use. Back in Rome, they used the eagle. In America, they use the eagle. Okay? The way that they build is similar. The structures. You look at the White House, you look at the Rome, it's Roman architecture. Okay? And then, as we stated, those two horns, the Democrats and the Republicans, which would be the plebeians and the patricians. All right, so it's the same structure. These are the same individuals. So that entire empire was just reincarnated, was brought back. All right. Matter of fact, let me get some more on that. Look at that. Similar. This is ancient Rome. This is the White House today. Okay? That might not even be the White House. That might be the judicial building. But regardless, it's the same type of architecture. Okay? So, as they showing you, Rome, America, it's the same type of stuff. They build idols. This is the Colosseum. Now, what do they have today? They have stadiums. All right? Football, basketball, baseball. Okay, circus. They give you bread and circus, distractions, right? Assassinations, the whole Charlie K situation, all of that type of stuff, man. These are the same actions that was going on back in Rome, right? Look at this guy, and we know that this guy is Nero, right? Through the spirit, because the way that he moves, the way that he acts. All right, is similar to Emperor Nero that used to lead Rome, all right, for a short time period. Okay, and look up Emperor Nero if you don't know anything about him. He persecuted hundreds of, and not hundred, but hundreds of millions, okay, millions, I would just say millions of Christians. Now, what would Christians be known back then? They would be known as Israelites. All right, that's what they was calling us. Well, we were really Israelites. They would be your so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And predominantly at that point in time, it would have just simply been the Southern tribe, which is your so-called Negroes, your so-called Haitians, or your so-called Jamaicans. So he persecuted millions of us, unalived us, and blamed stuff on us, as this guy, DJT, is doing today. He's blaming everything on the migrants. He's blaming everything on the as he says, the blacks, all right? You got to go where the blacks are. The blacks are doing this. The blacks, you got to get the black, that's what he's doing. He's blaming everything on the minority, in a sense, on us, man, all right? It's the same individual, okay? And Shalawam, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Barak, Ahtham to every brother and sister up in here. All right, keeping it going. Let's read 12 again. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. You thought the Roman Empire was done, but the Roman Empire is back. That deadly wound, the destruction of it, right? Rome ended around, really Western Rome ended around 476 AD. Okay, now Eastern Rome continued, and which is what would become the Byzantine Empire, which was in the Dark Ages, it would be ruled by Jakes. all right, in that time period. Even during some of early Rome years, you had certain Israelites ruling Rome, all right, that was at high points in power. So, don't think that it was just YT people ruling Rome. No, you had our people in power too, all right, but predominantly in the Dark Ages, we ruled Italy, we ruled Spain, we ruled England, we ruled Scotland, Ireland, right? These type of lands, okay, until we would get driven out. Now, as it states, that place whose deadly wound was healed, it was healed because Yahawah, he allowed them to come down from the Caucasus Mountains. He allowed them to move back in and take over the land, right? And we got driven out. This is why the Moors fought many battles against these Edomites, and they eventually got driven out completely around 1492. Okay, funny, because 1492 is the same time that Christopher Columbus, landed in the Bahamas and began to enslave and take over, all right, the Israelites that were in those lands. And then you would also have Cortez, right, that would go to where? That would go to Southern America and begin to take over Mexico and begin to take over, right? Taking over the Aztecs and the Mayans. And then later on in the 1500s, they would take over the Incas, right? And then eventually the Israelites that had fled Israel around 70 AD, that fled to Africa, right, which would be set up as Negro land, but they also fled upward. As we said, they ruled during the Dark Ages, all right? And they would, as we said, the Moors got driven out and all these other lands. They would eventually end up in America, a lot of them, through slave trade. So you didn't just have slave trade going on in Africa. No, you had slave trade going on in various lands, all right? But yeah, predominantly slave trade was going on in Africa. Okay, but you would have slaves in England. You would have slaves in other lands. All right. So the fact is that first beast is back through America. Verse 13. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. All right. Speaking about the atomic bomb and also these certain laser weapons that Esau has. All right. Keeping it going, verse 14. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And he had power to give, and that is not talking about no damn JC, man. Okay, that's not talking about no Jesus Christ, white Jesus, or nothing like that. All right. That's a part of it, yeah, because that's wickedness. But the whole thing is more so the ways, the likeness of this society. All right. If you're lining up and supporting this society, as the brother's talking about in the dream, you got all these people lining up in these tunnels to what? To take the sea hip. So you're giving in to his image, his likeness, his ways. You want to be a part of this place. If you are concerned about, the sea hip to the point where you're going to take it, then you already lost the battle. You want to be aligned with this society. You're not willing to unalive for what's right. You'd rather be, aligned with what's wrong. All right. Verse 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Okay? So this is what we're telling you. It's going to be mandatory for you to get with this system. It's going to be mandatory, man. And if you go against this system, then DEATH is going to be on the table for you. All right? With imprisonment, okay? Not being able to pay your bills, all this type of stuff, man. This is what's about to take place. All right. Verse 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a charagma in their right hand or in their foreheads a mark. Okay? And this is physical. Now let's get back to the dream.
Esau, Edom. Okay? So, like I said, the scriptures talk about in Joel how your young men should dream dreams. I believe also in the book of Acts, the 2nd chapter, says the same thing, which is a precept to Joel, the 2nd chapter. Okay? So this is a vision that's going to take place in the near future, right? As it says in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. Like, all tools, by the way. Okay, the vision is yet for an appointed moment, man. Roughly paraphrasing. Okay, and it shall speak. All right, it will not tarry. So it's coming. The sea hip is already out there. It's already made known. It's just not made mandatory. Okay, and also, like I said, going back into martial law, people had to report, or people had to go on these lines in order to get to certain places, because there were certain places that were blocked off. Okay? And no one saw me, by the way, because I'm sure I would have been, riled up and not riled up, but gathered up with the middle age, because I'm 40. So, but yeah, man, this it's coming. It's here. It's going to be mandatory. Thus saith the Lord, man. Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, his word will not return to him void. It says in Isaiah, the 55th chapter. Okay? All these things will come to pass. Thus saith Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. So, a lot of people are having visions, okay, which proves both Joel 2 and both Acts 2 to be true. A lot of people are having visions about martial law.
So, keep getting back to it. All right, the brother had a dream about the sea hip. If you just came in, all right, and as he stated, you had people lined up in tunnels by age group, okay, to take the sea hip. Even animals lined up to take the sea hip. Now, if you know a little bit about the sea hip history, that actually began in the 90s, where they were chipping animals. All right, that's long time before, right? In the 90s, they were doing this to so-called, keep track of your animals and all of that, blah, blah, blah. So this technology has been around for over 3 decades, 4 decades, right? 90, 10, 15, 20, yeah. So, this technology is there. It's around. It's just been further developed to the point of where it can do everything that they want it to do, pertaining to you. So don't think that this is just some overnight situation that's taking place. No. Esau, the so-called YT man, that rules the earth and controls the earth at this point, has been sitting back and he's been perfecting his master plan. So when he comes down with it, it's not going to be no mistakes in it. It ain't going to be no we forgot about this, or we didn't factor in this situation or this and that, right? They've even got to the point where they know they're going to have to fight the Halalyam. They know they're going to have to fight the angels. So they're really trying to get ready for that, which they got vain hope. It's not going to work out, right? But they do have certain weapons and stuff of that nature that to a mortal man, an average individual, you would not be able to stand up against what they have, man. This is why when we tell you the carnal mind is enmity against the Most High, all right? By carnal means, you will not be saved. You are not leaving America on a boat. You can't walk out of America. You can leave, go somewhere else, but guess what? Let's get this. This is Revelations 3:10, and it reads, "Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world, to try them that dwell upon the earth." Right? So this brother may have saw the dream, and He said Massachusetts, Chicago, but this situation will be happening everywhere. It's not just going to happen in America. Okay? It's not just going to happen in America. If it was just going to happen in America, then why is digital ID situations being set up all over the planet, from Mexico to the UK, from Australia to Alaska? Why are these things being set up everywhere? The digital ID system is the infrastructure. FedNow, CBDC, is the infrastructure for the CHIP. It's just a quick change. It's a quick transition, man. And this is what a lot of Jakes are not realizing. That this is easy, man. It's just easy for them to transition into the CHIP. Now let's play the next video that I got, all right, pertaining to the same situation that this brother is talking about.
Today I'm going to show you a typical Sunday morning as an American living with his family in Shenzhen, China. Spoiler alert, it's pretty cool. Everything's biometrics. Lock and unlock your door. Don't need a key. Kiddos on the bike. Take the elevator down. Our apartment's up there, and right below there's a 24/7 convenience store. But check this out inside. I'm gonna get a milk. The good thing about China is you don't need a wallet. You don't even need your phone. You can just pay with your hands. More government control, but how are you gonna hack biometrics? So you pay right here with your hands. Outside of basically every store in China, you can find power banks. You can rent them by scanning a QR code. It's like $1. Just return them a little bit later. Got the milkman. That's my favorite massage place. It's like $13 for an hour massage.
I don't want this inside.
You don't want my milk? So now we're going to get a coffee. The thing, though, is you have to be careful on the sidewalks in China because the scooters come flying down the sidewalks in all directions, and it can be very dangerous. Look here, many people think like tea is the most popular thing. There's so many coffee shops, like everywhere. There's a Luckin Coffee, Manor Coffee, there's a Starbucks coffee over on the other side. Sweeping the streets already, keeping everything clean in here. This is where a lot of locals will stop to get some food on the way to work. Looks like a lot of bread and eggs. A lot of quail eggs, I think, in there too. But mostly just types of bread. Chop it up. Super cheap too. It's like $1. Baby girl wants to carry the food. Over on this side of the road, they've got a little bit.
Alright, I guess he ain't gonna show no more of that. But pretty much the key point was the biometrics, right? Now easily that can be implemented, right? And that's we already use that. To get on my phone, right? What I gotta do? I could boom, put in the code, or for a lot of people with the iPhones, what? Your face scan. Okay, some people you use, I could have set this up with the fingerprint, the thumb, right? That's biometrics. And you thinking that it's not harmful or nothing like that. And that's not the MOTB. Don't get it twisted, right? That's just something that we got to go through, right? So we may have to live with digital ID, FedNow, CBDC, and all of that for a time period. But when it transitions to that physical CHIP, all right, that's when you have to refuse that, okay? Because you understand and you recognize through the prophecies that is that mark, that is that charagma that's being implemented on the entire planet. Now, as you see, like he's like, it's pretty cool living in China, biometrics and all of that. So the temptation gets these average individuals, these other nations, because they don't know no better. They don't have the breath of life. They don't have the Holy Spirit. They don't keep the laws, commandments, and statutes, right? So when the CHIP comes his way, he's not going to bat an eye about it. He's just going to automatically take it. What? Oh, that's it? Boom. So everything will be digital. Everything will be on the grid. Now, like we stated, you need a digital ID system implemented, and then you simply move over to a CHIP, right? Another thing he said in the video was what? Who's going to hack biometrics, right? And that's what the CHIP is going to be set up with. It's unhackable. It's safe. It's convenient. It will have, because what else would you still need? You would still need your birth certificate. You would still need social security card. Well, guess what? All of that's going to be on the CHIP. Everything's going to be right here. Okay? ID, license, all right? Everything. It's all going to be in the palm your hand. Everything. And a Edomite, a Moabite, a Ammonite, whoever it be, anybody that doesn't serve Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, a lot of you Yahuwahs, a lot of you Yahwehs, a lot of you Jesus freaks, y'all gonna fall and take it because you're gonna see the convenience in it. All right? And you're gonna be like, well, if it is wrong, I can just repent. This is something that you cannot repent from. Okay? You're pledging your allegiance. Brother got a precept. Revelations 20:4. And it reads, and I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahawashi, and for the word of power, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Hamashiach 1,000 years. Right? So let's say you an individual, and let's say you high up, man. You got millions, you a CEO, and you don't take the mark. But you still worshiping the beast. You still following the image. You still practicing paganism and all. You still gonna be thrown into the lake of fire, man. All right? You still submitted. All right? You're still moving in those type of ways. If you did not turn back to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, you are not safe. I ain't take the CHIP. But you still worship the idol? You still worship the image? Okay? You got to turn back to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. If you are an Israelite, if you are another nation and whatever, this ain't for you. It's never been for you. All right? Now going back to it, let's go back to Revelations, the 13th chapter. And then I want to hit some scriptures. Furthermore, talking on 15-minute cities. Right? So, 16 again. And he causeth all, both small and great. Now, how is he going to causeth all? He's going to have a system set up. As we stating that, we pushing that the whole time, letting you understand that. He causeth all, both small and great. So he's going to have a system set up to reach everybody. Rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And that no man might buy or sell. That's speaking about commerce. That's speaking about products being exchanged, buying or selling. Save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast. For it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Now, what did I state? I stated like, hey, let's say you don't take the CHIP, but you're going to have to take something in order to be upon this digital system. Let's say you take because they got it where you can swallow the CHIP and it's going to read your vitals and things of that nature. Or they also got the Neuralink, right? They also got the tattoo version of the CHIP that Bill Gates is going to try to implement. He's been talking about it. These are real things. You can get a tattoo etched on you. We know some of you individuals out there love tattoos. You'll get a tattoo and it'll have all your information right there. And you'll be like, where it's not a CHIP, that's still against the law. That's still something that you can't repent against after. That's still worshiping and serving the image, the likeness. You're aligning yourself with this system. So you in your mind, you like, well, I didn't take the chip. I just got a tattoo. That's stupid. That's foolishness. You know, it's going to be many different ways to get on the grid. All right. So when it says right hand, no, that's just talking about your dominant hand. I'm left-handed, right? So I would take it on my left hand. Okay? Like, it doesn't matter which hand you take it in for you technical individuals out there, because I know some of y'all is out there. Where it says right hand, I took it in my left hand, brother. No, man. That's goofy. Like I said earlier, you can take it in your knee. You can take it in your foot. You can take it in your back. You can take it in your neck. It does not matter. The fact that matters is that you took it. And now you are on the grid. All right? All right? So that's important to know that this is what? Attached to commerce, and that all the governments of the planet are going to have places where you can go and get these things. What happened during CV-19? Didn't all the governments of the planet, of the world, come together and they had places where you could go to get the what? The jabby jab? All right? That was the test run. We state that over and over for y'all. That was the test run. This time, it's going to be far more strict. It's going to be far more shut down, far more contained. I don't see how individuals could say this is not going to happen when it's already happened before. To see how everybody was going to react. For you individuals out there like, we got to come together. Dude, that's not a natural human instinct, because y'all don't do it. Y'all don't do it. Y'all talking about y'all want to come together and do this, and y'all not going to do that, man. That's just not how y'all work. Y'all basically, and it's like, because especially for our nation, the curses, all right? It's hard for individuals to come together. You're not going to come together for a righteous cause. No, that's not what's going to happen. Now, y'all going to come together in chaos, even in these purge. Yeah, you're going to have people clicked up in civil wars, but y'all going to fight. Y'all going to fight. And what's always going to happen? Individuals are going to betray one another. I got to feed my family, bro. Boom, boom, boom. All right? Because it's not meant for y'all to save yourselves. Right? Now with that, let's take it over to 2nd Esdras, the 15th chapter. Because I know you got individuals out there. As that dude, we was dealing with a dude yesterday, man. And he thinking in his mind that he can save himself by coexisting with the YT man. You just another Martin Luther Queen, man. That's all you is. Martin Luther Queen. That's how you acting. You can't coexist with this devil. Why would you want to coexist with a devil in a burning house? It makes no sense. All right? Yeah. Yep. This time you'll be money sick, not flu sick. Exactly. Right? So let's go to 2nd Esdras, the 15th chapter, starting at verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, meaning destruction to the world. Now, does that mean destruction to the planet? No. All right? It means destruction to this kingdom, this rulership. This is what we trying to explain to you, Jakes, that want to align with this kingdom, this rulership. You can't. Even if you have a little bit of power and dominion, you don't have true power and dominion. Your kingdom, your rulership, whatever you got, your corporation, your LLC, that can be snatched from you because you're not in true power. It's not ruled in a righteous sense. Right? This is what the Edomites are known for, backstabbing. Look up the history of Alexander the Great, so-called great, Alexander the Greek. Okay? What did he do to his father, Philip II? Right? He unalived him and took his seat. The people in power his counselors, Philip II's counselors, they was like, yeah, we going to get you out of power. So they had him took out. And then Alexander the Creep took his role, took his position. All right? A similar things happened with the Egyptians. Okay? To get certain pharaohs out of the way. All right? These heathen nations are known for backstabbing one another. You know? So it ain't no going back to it, man. Y'all humans, man. Y'all ain't about to join together and actually rule in a sense because you don't know how to rule. If you don't rule according to this, it's not gonna prosper. It will come to naught. So woe to this kingdom and them that dwell therein. Anybody that's trying to join and align with this kingdom, with the beast system. Look at this idiot, Yaju Judah. You have a petition to go to the Vatican. So you have to what? You have to submit yourselves to these individuals, to these Edomites. You have no power. You're not Yahawashi. You're not the king. For individuals in here right now, understand when our king comes back, he's not making no peace treaties. He's not sitting down to talk with anybody. Everybody will fear, including us. We're going to love his appearing, but he still got to shoot, man. All right? We going to be screaming, the water, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. We glad you on our side. The water for coming back and saving us. Because you was the only way we was going to make it out. Okay? Yeah, you can't save Babylon. All right? Verse 15. For the sword and their destruction draweth not. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Pew-pews, grenades, rocket launchers, whatever it may be. Right? For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. You thinking you can pew-pew it out. Now, in the video, the brother was giving one part of individuals being submissive to the beast system. Everybody's not going to be submissive. What do you have out there? You have good old proud boys, them good old boys. What are they doing? What have they been doing the entire time? They've been stocking up ammunition. They've been getting ready for the war, which is coming, man. Okay? It's a war that is brewing. If you can't feel that in your bones, then you are Patrick Star. You live under a rock. Okay? If you cannot feel this war that is brewing on the entire planet, it ain't just in America, Babylon, but WW3 is right there. Okay? All right? And if you a camp out there and you're not pushing that, you're not really wanting the people the correct way, man. Speak according to prophecy, man. That's why, going back to the brother's dream, what was it entitled? A dream of prophecy. A dream of prophecy. That's what we are taught. Because that's the true spirit, man. Coming through prophecy. All right? Keeping it going. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Now, furthermore, let's look at that. What is that talking about? Everything we've been talking about. Okay? A 15-minute city is an urban, come on, man. A 15-minute city is an urban planning concept that aims to provide residents with access to daily necessities and services such as groceries, workplaces, and parks within a 15-minute walk or bike ride. On the flip side of this is what? You will be trapped in this zone. The only way you're going to get out is, let's say you have to work on the outskirts of it, or you are part of a grid, which means you have one of those things in your hand. And you're aligning and joining with this system that they are trying to build. So the individuals that are not joining with the system, you're going to be deemed a what? An outlaw, an outcast. Your face is going to be stitched up on the wall and you're going to be hunted down. Won't it? This ain't the Wild Wild West. That's not going to, yes, it's going to happen. All right? This is what you're not understanding, man. This is what you're not comprehending. You talking about they can't shut down the earth. They done it before. Okay? They've done it many times before, man. Brother Won't, Luke 19:43. I got you out. All right. For the day shall come upon thee that thine enemies shall cast a trench about thee and compass thee round. Compass means to surround and keep thee in on every side. Right? We have been given what? The spirit of prophecy. We actually listen to the king. We listen to his words. We take those words near and dear, man. We believe them 100%. Okay? We ain't no doubt in our faith. Ain't no, well, he said this, but is this really going to happen? No, ain't none of that. Whatever our king said, it's going to happen, man. All right? So, going back to what the brother said, Habakkuk 2, 1-3. It may tarry, so the prophecy may seem to you like it's taking forever to come to pass. Right? But it's going to come to pass. You don't have no control over that prophecy, man. Okay? This is what you need to understand. You're a worm. You really don't have no control. All right? Just the fact that a raven didn't come through and grab your ass up is the fact that Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi protected you. That's the only reason you're not being raven food right now. You are a worm. All right? You got all these predators that are bigger than you. Okay? We are captive in a nation that is far stronger than us, but we are protected because our power is far stronger than these creatures that are around us. So it's showing a sense of humility, understanding the situation that you're in. You being a worm, you ain't got no fighting ability. You can't go toe and toe with a squirrel. You can't go toe and toe with a cobra. All right, yeah, we POWs. We behind enemy lines. So for you thinking that you have the ability to fight the U.S. government, no. You clearly haven't read the scriptures. All right, I got you out. Sirach 10:9 from the brother Cockman. And then we're going to get back to that second address. This is Sirach 10:9. Why is earth and ashes proud? There is not a more wicked thing than a covetous man. For such and one sitteth his own soul to sell, because while he liveth, he casteth away his bowels. You can't sit here and be proud in minor things that you have accomplished. These are nothing. Anything that you have accomplished, it all withers away and passes away. Okay? It does not matter. You right now, you are in another life. You're living another reincarnation. The things that you did in your last incarnation, you don't remember none of those things. You might have done great things, but you don't remember none of those things. All right? So the best thing for you to do is to build up your treasures in heaven. Okay? Let's keep it going. Let's go back to 2nd Esdras, the 15th chapter. So those 15-minute cities. Matter of fact, let's go back to that and finish reading it. The goal is to create more sustainable, convenient, and livable neighborhoods by reducing reliance on cars, which in turn can decrease traffic and what are they always talking about? The ozone layer. They're always telling you that the what is it? Climate, global warming. The water Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. Global warming. All right, global warming, whatever. Because of car exhaust, because of cows pooping and shitting. Right? The amount of pollution that we create, the amount of trash is warming up the earth. No, man. Yahawah warming up the earth to deal with y'all ass. Because y'all the ones getting the most cancer. Y'all the ones that's suffering the most. Okay? All right? The way that you treat the earth is able to sustain and will be here. The earth will never disappear. It will never be destroyed. Understand that. Okay? It will never be destroyed. You need to read Ecclesiastes 1 and 4. Right? That's why I broke that down. When it says, woe to the world, that's talking about this kingdom. The world of the Edomites. This is their kingdom. Anything that they brought. So for you Jakes, you Israelites that are trying to come into the kingdom, bringing worldly ways into the kingdom, that's not going to fly. All right? Everything that this society taught you is not going to be present in our kingdom. The wickedness that they brought is not going to be present. Okay? That's why when I low-key, was going in on the whole 2K. It's nothing wrong with playing 2K. But if you look at the basics, if you look at the origin of 2K, what is, we ain't going to be playing no NBA. That's a slave man's game, man. Now, we'll be doing it for pleasure, most likely, right? But in the way that it is right now, it's fake. It's not real. Those brothers are not allowed to truly ball. It's all rigged and set up. And then it's more so to extort us. 2K, Madden, all of that is extortion. They're extorting us for who we are. For our gifts. That's why they say a nigga is only good for rapping or dribbling a ball or dancing. All right? That's all they say. Or catching a ball. Or hitting a ball. Okay? Let's keep it going. For because of their pride, this is why the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. So keep this in your mind. If you don't humble yourself before Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, you're gonna be humbled by Satan, man. You're gonna have to submit to somebody. Submit to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. That's the correct path versus submitting to this wicked system and taking the C-hip. All right, you're gonna face a form of submission. You have to serve something. That's why individuals are talking about it's a cult. That's a cult. You're in some form of a cult. Whatever it's a cult. We all have a certain type of culture that we subscribe to. We all have a certain type of brainwashing that we are under. Your brainwashing is telling you that we can't learn the Bible and study the Bible and bring it out the correct way because you're brainwashed to not understand the Bible. But we're brainwashed to understand the Bible the correct way. You understand? So cult and brainwash, these are actually good words, man. I got you, all right? Proverbs 11 and 21. And it reads, though hand join hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished, but the seed of the righteous shall be delivered. Exactly. So when you submit, you are submitting either to wickedness or righteousness. All right? Keep that in mind. You are submitting to wickedness or righteousness. You have to make that choice. Okay, a brother got another one. Ecclesiasticus 6 through 22. 6 and 22. Let's get it. And it reads, "For wisdom is according to her name, and she is not manifest unto many." Right? Wisdom of Solomon, 8th chapter, man. Make her your wife. Many don't make her their wife. Many reject wisdom. She crieth in the streets. Proverbs 1st chapter, verse 20, going downward, man. Right? And what is that? That's a form of submitting, because you have to fear the Most High. You are submitting. You're put into submission. You can willingly submit, or you can be beat into submission going through ICBM missiles. All right? I would rather go through the less amount of hell. You got to go through hell in general. Okay? Meaning that you got to go through a position of uncomfortability. That's why we always preach, get used to being uncomfortable, because you're going to have to go through a position and a challenge that you don't desire. Can't no brother in here say we really desire to go through Jacob's trouble. Well, we might lose our wife, our kids, we might lose our lives. We got that garden in Gethsemane moment, man. Hey, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, if you could take this cup away from me, please take this cup away from me. Right? You understand? So this is not a position that we desire, but we know this is what we need. This is what we need. Ain't no brother gonna sit here and say he wants to get his head chopped off. Are you crazy? No. But this is what you may have to endure. So don't think we up here, don't get it twisted. This is why we pray, man. We pray to make it through. We pray for our families to make it through all the way up to the end, to get beamed up without a scratch. We pray. I pray for that. So let's keep it going. All right. Verse 19, back in 2nd Esdras 15. "A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation." Okay. So what the brother was seeing is what he was seeing in that dream was individuals that submitted and that went unto the safety of the government, because they were taken to see him. That's why they were all in those lines. All right. Now you're going to have individuals that don't take the C-hip, right? But as we said, they still aligning to the beast system. They're out there putting everything in their own hands. They're fighting the government. They're picking up arms and pew-pewing it out with the government, which is pointless. That's not how you're going to save. That's not how you're going to be saved, man. This is not a carnal battle. Our weapons are not carnal. They are spiritual. We have to break down strongholds, principalities, demons, things of that nature. These are what's really controlling everything. All right? Through the strength and power of Yahawah, who's allowing these things to control. So we have been given, we've been given a cheat code. If you look at it like that, we got a cheat sheet when we in this test. And that cheat sheet is the Bible. So use it. Why would you not use the cheat sheet on the test, Akyam? I don't even understand that. You got the answers right there. You got the brothers right there. Study to show thyself approved. Apply the scriptures. Apply the cheat sheet. Oh, I'm on question 17. Okay, let me see what the scriptures say. Okay, the answer is C. Boom. I went to the scriptures. I examined the question. All right. Oh, okay. King David went through a similar situation. Let me go read what the scriptures say about this situation. Okay, so now the answer is C. Boom. Easy, like that. Use the scriptures. All right. Brother got a scripture, precept. 2 Corinthians 10, 4 through 5. And it reads, "For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Yahawah to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of Yahawah, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Hamashiach." Khan. And that's beautiful. The water, that's it. Quoted it, and brother went and got it. Used the scriptures. You know? So it's important for you to filtrate your life using these scriptures. Not just to move through and you know all these precepts, but you're not applying them to your life. What's the point of knowing them? What's the point of knowing the story of Samson, but you still out here getting played by women? Did you pay attention at all to Samson? Right? I mean, come on, man. Okay? What's the point? It's no point. You read all that for nothing. You read the Bible for nothing, man, if you don't use it. Right? Back to it. So individuals, let's read it again. "A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, fighting one another, but shall destroy their houses with the sword." And that's not talking about houses. All right, like a house. Yeah, they'll be robbing their houses, but that's talking about more so your family, man. Unaliving your people. That's your house. That's a man's house. You can always move into another house, but your house is your son, is your kids, your baby, your wife, those that you are protecting. That's your house. So your family will get unalived and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So what is that letting you know? It's going to be a famine upon the land. It's going to be a lack of food on top of a lack of the word. The word is going to go first. We're going to get off them corners first. And then on top of that, it's going to be a lack of food. You're going to be seeking, and you might remember, I heard them brothers talking about this on TikTok. They was telling us the storehouses was going to suddenly appear empty. Dang, what did they say to do about? Well, they said call on the name. What's the name? I forgot. I didn't pay attention. I didn't listen. I didn't write it down. I didn't apply the scriptures. I didn't study to show myself approved. I came up in the live and I asked the brother, I said, we learning together. We learning together. I know what you know. I just lied. You got these individuals that come in the live and they be so damn high-minded. And they think that they know everything that we know. And we not boasting. We are humble and meek, man. But we ain't gonna sit here and act like we don't know shit. Like we ain't studying and growing. We here every single day, man, to feed our people. Those that are willing to listen. Not no high-minded ass monkeys. If you know everything, then go know everything. All right? That's why the same dude, I saw him on live today looking stupid. You got all these women, all this bullshit ass conversation going on in y'all ain't talking about what's going on right now. Yahawah Bahasham, Yahawashi is not dealing with you clowns. The same topics y'all do be talking about, man. Yahawashi is black. The wilderness. It's Yahuwah. It's not, man. Y'all are basic. It's nothing worse than a basic Israelite. That can't humble down, man. Dang. Proverbs 23:12. Apply thine heart unto instruction and thine ears to the words of knowledge. But if you don't do that, then what? You're going to stay basic. You never going to move up to the next recipe. You learn how to cook honey salmon. You know, you learn what to put on it, but you never could move on to the next recipe. You don't know how to cook ahi tuna. You cook it too long, now it's dried out. You understand? Because you never fucking listened. Brother tried to tell you, hey, yo, cook it for 4 minutes and then and season and then flip it up. And then, but you cooking it for 10 minutes and then you flipping it and then you cooking it for 10. Now it's dried out. You eating it, it's all hard and you don't know how to keep the juices in it because you didn't listen to the teachers. You didn't Isaiah 30 and 20, man. The art of listening, man. That's an extremely valuable trait. Just simply shutting up and listen, man. Your input is not needed. I get you a man. Yeah, you a man. Okay, I'm a man too. But it's a fact that you got to understand to come into this thing as a babe. You think you a man. But you really, truly is not a man until you learn these scriptures. You are a man according to Esau's standard. But you're not a man according to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. To him, you are a babe. A baby. Because you're going to wham over little simple shit. You don't know how to handle these things because you're not, what? Applying the scriptures. All right, let's get back to it. Verse 20, behold, saith power, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me, which are from the rising of the sun, from the south, from the east of Lebanos, to turn themselves one against another and repay the things that they have done to them. Who's doing that? The Father of the spirits, Yahawah. He's placing spirits on Russia, placing spirits on China, on these Hermetic nations. He's placing spirits on all these different individuals and bringing them against one another. He is the Father of spirits, man. But you sitting back thinking it's free will. Well, if it's free will, then why are the prophecies fulfilling how they're fulfilling? You're not understanding nothing, man. You know, and that's pretty much it, y'all. I'm going to wrap it up right there. All right. I hope this was edifying through the spirit. Beautiful dream the brother had, right? Beautiful epistle. Once again, Brother Yaramia Gabar. All right. Go and subscribe to the brother. Get edified. Brother drops lessons damn near every day. All right. You know, repost that. All right. Go and tap in, man. Okay. Anybody, man, anybody I co-sign, man, they go hard. Okay, they know bullshit. No bullshit. All right. No bullshit. Okay. All right. Yeah, sister, science class is a joke. Yeah, most science that Esau puts out is pseudoscience. It's fake. Such as carbon dating, stuff going back millions and millions of years, billions of years. That's all fake, right? You know, and you got real scientists that are actually debunk Esau. And what? That's Psalm 64, man. They shall fall over their own tongue. So you got their own people actually coming out and saying, well, you know, Earth is about 12,000 years old, 12 to 13,000 years old, right? If we being honest about it, right? So, you know, even the oldest city, Jericho, put my phone on charger, but even the oldest city, Jericho, is about, what, 10,000 years old? And that's the oldest city on earth that they, you know, the oldest civilized city, they would say. Right? But, you know, yeah, science is a joke. But hey, if it's any type of questions, man, I'll take questions right now. All right, and Shalawam to every brother and sister up in here. So any questions? Don't be jumping in my inbox asking questions, man. Any questions right now? All right, and Shabbat Shalawam to everybody. Oh, okay. Sister said, so if your mom's blood sugar was low, what would you recommend she eat or drink? Okay, hey, blueberries, right? Blueberries right there automatically going to regulate the blood sugar. So blueberries, and you already know how to make them, you know. Take them, you know, for anybody that don't know how to make them, get blueberries out of the grocery store. Don't get them giant joints, because them joints is GMOs. All right, you want to get the small ones, okay? They don't need to be that big. Get the small ones. All right, so get them, you know, and throw some blackberries in there as well, right? So get those, you know, put them in a bowl and put some vinegar, you know, apple vinegar, apple cider vinegar, or some white vinegar. You could do either one. And then some baking soda, right? Let that soak for 20 minutes. And then after that, right, pour it out, rinse water over it, and then put it on like a napkin, a plate or whatever, a napkin, and let it dry to get dry, right? And then you put that in a mason jar and you can store that in the refrigerator. But you don't want to have no moisture in that because it'll create mold. You know what I'm saying? You know, so let it dry on the napkin and then put it in there. And then, yeah, she just eat those things. You know, blueberries. Try to eat it every morning on an empty stomach. Blueberries and blackberries. That'll regulate the blood sugar, right? What else? Pomegranate juice. If you could get the Lakewood version, that's the only kind I would recommend, because the other kinds, they got too much damn sugar in it. They got artificial sugar, which Lakewood is natural. It's not from concentrate, so it's got all the nutrients in it, and it's gonna have the real sugar, right? Take a shot of pomegranate juice every day or every other day, whatever, you know. And that'll help the blood sugar. That'll help the blood in general. All right, what else? Tomatoes, right? Tomatoes, you know, tomato soup. You can make tomato soup, or you could just eat tomatoes off rip, or you could put them in your omelets. Do whatever you want to do. But tomatoes, when you get the tomatoes, real tomatoes are grape tomatoes or cherry tomatoes, all right? Or the ones on the vine, okay? Because they got some tomatoes out here that's GMO like a motherfucker, all right? But grape tomatoes are real tomatoes, okay? The ones on the vine, or if they grape tomatoes and they in a container, then they should be fine, all right? So tomatoes, what else? Avocado. Avocado is another one that's extremely good for the heart. So that's also good for the blood, right? Yeah, brother Gabriel said cactus. I heard about that. I never messed with it. But hey, if the brother know about it, so hey, cactus, all right? Yeah, kale for sure. Kale, cilantro, salmon, yeah, for inflammation. Walnuts, definitely. If you want to clean your body out, get the black walnut harbs. But them hard to find. But you know. But yeah, or you could get the black walnut harbs. I think they got the oil, right? I'm cleaning my body out right now. I'm taking that. Matter of fact, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get it. I'm taking some soursop bitters. I probably done showed this before. So it's got soursop, it's got neem tree, black seed, which the black seed, that right there, in general, that's gonna cleanse you out. All right, honey, lemon root, tamarind. I just picked up some tamarindo today from the Mexican grocery store. And that's fire for the blood too. Goat weed, Irish moss, hibiscus, garlic, cinnamon. All right, black peppers, strong back, senna and ginger, chesin roots, maca, bitter woods, Barak roots, and fennel seeds, right? And this right here it'll just clean you out. You can get this at like an African store, a herb store, but you got to look around, for this type of stuff. All right. Nashar, down there in Atlanta, you should be able to find something like this though. All right. It should be like an African store definitely down there in Atlanta. Y'all should have something like that, right? You just gotta look around for it. Hey, see, look, the brother said he saw it at an all-natural store. See? Yeah. But hey, yeah, that's gonna clean you out, right? I take a shot of this in the morning, and I'm gonna take another shot at night before I go to sleep. Nah, cause a fast is no food, no water for 24 hours. So nah, I don't fast while I'm taking it. But I would take it, and then the next day I could do a fast, right? Or I would take it after I fast, because it's going to furthermore clean out the body to help the fast. But a fast, for anybody, a fast is 24 hours, no food, no water, right? And then what you want to do also, in general, drinking water. You want to drink water in the morning, but you want to what? You want to have them lemons in that. Some lemons in that water, right? So you want to keep them lemons to make the water alkaline. Hold up. Now drop the water. Lemons. Before you drink the water, tell her put some salt. If she got some Celtic salt or just some iodized salt, put some salt on your tongue, let it dissolve, and then drink the water. And the water, you'll absorb it better. It's the salt. It's like the salt. When you eat something that's salty, and you go drink water, the water goes to your organs at a better rate. Look, the brother Dev said that a lot. That mushroom elixir got you running to the bathroom. Dang, you just started out. Yeah, that's gonna get your gut going. That's gonna get your gut going. That's what's up. That right there in kombucha. Yeah. Yeah, Brother Gabriel said the same thing. Key lime water, yup. Add a dash of salt for magnesium too. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I told you, it tastes like soda, but it's not soda. It's better than soda. And then it's also with it, cupcake is like, especially for our older people, they gotta fix their taste buds. And for us too, when you coming up off of these artificial foods, all these processed foods, that's the first thing. Tell her to cut anything processed. All right? Anything processed. You gotta cut that shit out. Or you could do all of this and nothing gonna work. Because you keep bringing in trash. So she got to try to get holistic. Because all the processed sugars, she could be doing the tomatoes, the avocados, but if she's still drinking sodas, processed foods, then what's gonna happen is it's not gonna work because the artificial sugar is still gonna go in her body and block up her arteries, right? Hell nah. She said, I'm learning from my nephew. My sister keeps cases of soda everywhere in her house, and Skittles are banned in different countries. Skittles are banned. So yeah, man, a lot of sodas are banned. Look at this. Skittles are banned anywhere in the United States, including, or not Salaki, not that, but different countries. Skittles are banned in countries. Or they're made a different way. Like Skittles are not completely banned in every country, but certain ingredients like titanium dioxide. Now what is that's metal. And certain food dyes are banned or restricted in some regions due to health concerns. For instance, in the EU, they banned that in 2022 and requires a warning label on foods containing yellow 5 and yellow 6. Norway and Austria have also banned these food dyes entirely. Now, what is food dyes and that stuff linked to? Autism, Down syndrome. This is what it does to your baby. This is what it does to your kids in general. Right? I don't let my daughter eat no damn type of candy, man. If she eating something like it's gonna be, something that we mess with, something natural or whatever, right? And then furthermore, going back to what? That goes back to your taste buds. Your taste buds. Me and my daughter, we'll straight up sit here and eat some Kamala olives, right? Or we'll eat an onion. I'm straight up just eat an onion. Because her taste buds are not defiled. Okay? So you got to limit the amount of sugar that you get. I said it before, but 26 grams of sugar is all you need a day. 26 grams. And you don't have to get that much. You'll be all right. But you don't need to go over that. Now, in one can of soda, because you said your sister got soda everywhere. Let's look at one can of Coca-Cola. How much grams of sugar? And this is artificial sugar as well, right? A standard 12-ounce can of Coca-Cola contains 39 grams of sugar. This amount is equivalent for about 10 teaspoons of sugar and exceeds the recommended daily limit for added sugar for most adults. So, if you got a kid drinking soda, what is it going to do to their body? Because what does glucose, that type of sugar, do? It glues, it sticks to your arteries. So, therefore, what? Your blood can't move as freely. And what does that do? That raises your blood pressure. Okay, look, man, Jake, blood pressure, what is that? That's going to how hard your heart pumps. That's what blood pressure is talking about. How hard your heart has to pump. So your heart pumping, boom, 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 boom. Now, you start adding all this damn sugar, your heart got to pump harder to get the blood to push through. You understand? So then your heart is like boom, 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 boom. You got all over the years, sugar upon sugar upon sugar. What's eventually going to happen? Comment board. What's eventually going to happen? Y'all should follow me. What's eventually going to happen to your heart? This is easy. What eventually is going to happen? Somebody give me the answer. Exactly. A heart attack. Exactly. A heart attack. Cardiac arrest. Exactly. Because your heart is trying to get past all that damn sugar. Okay? So that's it's bad for you, man. That's why you got to limit your sugar intake. And I'm talking about artificial sugar. All right? Now, if you taking, let's say you eat a fruit, you eat an orange, you know, that's fine. That's real sugar. Unless it's just hella GMO, right? You eat some grapes. You eat some blueberries. Like I said, blueberries, it manages blood sugar levels. Exactly. Let's pin that up. What the brother put. Fructose. It's fructose. But that's sugar that comes from fruits. That's sugar that comes from fruits. Glucose is artificial sugar that comes from artificial stuff. Artificial is fake. It's fake sugar. So going back to cupcake, what should you use? Even let's say like you make like my wife be making them like them blueberry, bread and stuff like that. What does she use? Brown sugar. She use brown sugar or she use coconut sugar. You don't really want to use no white sugar for nothing. Because that's not good for you. Right? Yeah, bleach, yeah. I don't know too much about that, but I know that white sugar is just, I'll have to go deeper into it to study it. But I know I learned that a couple years ago, and we just started using brown sugar, coconut sugar. They got many different other type of sugars, But yeah, don't use white sugar, all right? If you can help it. You know what I'm saying? White rice, that shit be plastic. The best rice for you is either black rice or wild rice. White rice is straight up plastic. So why you use black rice or wild rice? Most of this rice is plastic. All right. Look at what the brother said. Yeah, raw cane sugar. And guess what, back in the 80s and 90s, in your sodas, everything used to use cane sugar. Everything used to use cane sugar. Okay? Cane sugar is okay for you. But man. So going back to the blood pressure is furthermore, cilantro. The brother put it though. He put kale and cilantro because what is that going to do? That's going to get the metals out of your blood. So all them damn Skittles, they got the metal in the Skittles, right? That metal is running around in your blood. And your blood is just going around your body cleansing. But your blood can't cleanse that good if it got all this damn metal in it. So you need to start pulling that metal out of your blood by eating cilantro, eating kale, eating spinach. Because what do greens do? Greens, I'm going to have to do a health lesson later on tonight, man. I'm going to have to get the whiteboard. But greens purge out the blood. Purge out the body in general. Greens. Right? Vegetables. You look at this. This got a lot of what? It got Barak root. Right? It got neem tree. Okay? Black seed. Lemon root. Tamarind. Right? All right? Chezon root. These are vegetables. Maca. Bitter woods. These are vegetables. They purge. This is meant to purge out. Right? Strong back. Goat. Weed. These are herbs. These are vegetables. They're meant to purge and cleanse. So it's going to make me go to the bathroom. It's going to purge my body. Right? What does it say? 21 different herbs and roots. You know what I'm saying? So it's important to know what your foods are used for. What are fruits used for? To hydrate you. Okay? Fruits are used to hydrate you. When you dealing with, let's say you eat some meat. You know, you've been eating meat 3 days straight. You need to eat some fruit because that meat is going to turn to inflammation. So inflammation is fire. So you got to come through with the fruits, which is the fire department, to put the inflammation out that's coming from the meats or from the starch or from the sugar, because artificial sugar also turns into inflammation. So it turns into fire. This is how you get joint pain, arthritis. All right? This is where you get these problems from, man. Your body can't heal because you got too much damn inflammation. You need to put that fire out by eating fruits. So to add to that, sister, is cantaloupe, honeydew melon. Okay, it's not watermelon season, so I don't suggest no watermelon because it's not watermelon season. Watermelons grow and they come out in the summer. Okay? So if anybody, if you messing with watermelons right now, them shits is fake. Okay? They ain't got no seeds in them. But honeydew melons, cantaloupe melon, canary melons, right? Melons. Because melons is going to what? It's going to help the blood sugar levels. And it's going to cleanse and fight all that inflammation. Because that inflammation is also bad to the heart as well. You know? So think about all that sugar from the sodas and the Skittles that whoever, you know, your sister is eating. You got to come through with the fire department and push those sugars out the way. It's got to be loosened. You know what I'm saying? But hey, we got any more questions, man? I got like 10 more minutes. Any more questions? On anything, health-wise, Bible-wise, whatever it be. All right. Man, it's a nice day, though. It's raining. It's supposed to rain today and tomorrow. I love it. I need to go out. I got to go out tomorrow because I didn't go out this week. So I need to go out tomorrow for sure. All right. Because it's been raining, man. It's been raining all week, but, you know, I got to get out there. All right, but I don't see no more questions. It was hell in the AZ yesterday. See? Yeah, it's been raining out here. It was raining since Friday to Tuesday, on and off. And it stopped on Wednesday. Now it's raining again today. And that's hey, it is what it is. All right. The sister said, if you have it on your heart, can you look into nephrotic syndrome for next health live? Let me look that up right now. I probably said that wrong. Oh, okay. Yeah, this could be caused by soda. Definitely caused by soda. And I would say for this, because it is what it's doing, it's attacking your kidney. And it's inflammation. Yeah. But yeah, I'll look into it some more, and I'll touch on it on the Health Live. But yeah, this definitely kidneys, right? So anybody with this, stay away from sodas, stay away from alcohol. I would actually I wouldn't even touch wine for a while. And what would I would? I would melons, blackberries, blueberries, cause it's like look at it like this. Years of doing a certain thing, like years of poking a certain spot that's soft, you're gonna eventually dig deeper. So you gotta stop poking that area and leave it alone, and let it heal, let it come back. So if you've been drinking sodas for 10 years, you gotta leave them sodas alone, so that damage won't continue, because our bodies can heal, man. All right, they can heal. They're extraordinary. But we can't continue to do those same problems, same issues. That's why I said the processed foods, gotta leave those alone, right? To let these organs cleanse out. Now that right there, you gotta really attack the kidney for that type of syndrome or whatever. Is really attack the kidney, because that's the main factor that's being hurt in that situation. Yeah, don't touch no damn Red Bull. Red Bull. Yeah, that shit give you wings, alright. That shit gonna give you wings, alright. Trust me. Yeah. Red Bull will give you wings. Man. Yeah. Okay, the brother put parsley. Yup. Parsley. So you need to be on the greens. You need to be on salads. You need to be on the salads. And TikTok, this ain't no, we ain't no doctors or nothing. All right, this is just don't take the live down or nothing like that. But yeah, I'm gonna look into it more. And hey, Yahawah, I'll do a live. If not tonight, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do a health live tomorrow, right? And we'll touch on that. And I'll try to target. Let's say, man, I'll go into kidneys, liver, heart and lungs. I'll just try to target those 4 organs, how to clean them, how to clean those organs out, right? We'll hit some herbs and some vegetables and stuff to clean those organs out, right? All right. So yeah, if not tonight, then definitely tomorrow. Okay. So hey, with that being said, facing the east, all praises, honor, and glory be to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of the great millstone, which rule well and teach well and sincerely taught us this truth. Shalawam to the Lord's hopeful elect. As always, Kwam Yasharahla, and a Baba Ball to this wicked kingdom. May Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi destroy this bitch yesterday. All right, Shalawam, brothers and sisters. All right, continue. All right, praying, fasting, studying, reading, growing. And don't lose the faith. Okay? Shalom.